I just wanted to really explain how defamation law in this Depp-Heard case compares to Florida.
Hi guys. This is pretty much been Jonathon Daily.
Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. So let's watch a couple clips here, because everyone remembers when this was a huge case and was all over the internet.
That's exactly what happened in Australia. Mr. Depp lost the tip of his finger after you threw a bottle at him. Isn't that right?
That is incorrect.
You're the one who assaulted someone with a bottle in Australia. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
I didn't assault Johnny in Australia. I didn't assault Johnny ever. I couldn't.
And then after he was injured, he had to hide from you, right?
That is
in
incorrect.
5 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms.
That is incorrect.
And you would pursue him.
That is incorrect.
Because he was avoiding talking to you, right?
He did that first night when
he was
I tried to talk to him about the drugs.
And he was avoiding working it out.
No, he was avoiding agreeing to not fight about the drugs.
You weren't scared of him at all, were you?
I have a mixed relationship with Johnny, and one in which I'm scared, one in which I love him very much.
I'm not talking about your mixed relationship. That night in Australia, after you cut off his finger with a bottle, you weren't scared of him at all, were you?
This is a man who tried to kill me. Of course it's scary. He's also my husband.
You're a lot bigger than Amber, correct? Physically?
I wouldn't say that.
You agree with me?
So from a legal perspective, here is what we have regarding this case. So this case was tried in a Virginia state court. Depp sued Heard for her 2018 Washington Post op-ed. Heard countersued over statements made by Depp's lawyers. Jury finding here, Depp brought 3 defamation claims. The jury found all 3 statements were defamatory. So let's read these statements. Statement 1, headline of the op-ed. Quote, this is Amber Heard's quote, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath." Statement 2, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. And statement 3, I had the rare vantage point of seeing how institutions protect men accused of abuse. So why are these important? Because they actually might be true, these statements, but defamation by implication is what the causes of action were and what the jury actually found. So these statements were true, even though the jury found that they implied that Johnny Depp committed domestic abuse or violence against Amber Heard. Because obviously they do. They were married, they were going through a nasty divorce, and she's saying things like, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath, right? That obviously implies that he was abusing her. She said 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. That can be a true statement and probably was true, but she's a liar. And it implies that he did it. Just because she became a public figure representing domestic abuse doesn't mean that Johnny Depp was hitting her, even though it obviously implies that. So she is saying something true, but implies something that is not true. That's the important tidbit there. And then I just wanted to really explain how defamation law in this Depp-Heard case compares to Florida. So here's a couple differences. Actual malice actually required. So whenever there's a public figure, they have to prove actual malice. And this is why defamation is so hard sometimes. You have to prove knowledge of falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. Defamation by implication is recognized in both Virginia, which is where the case was tried, and in Florida. How Florida defamation law actually differs a little bit is going to be in the proving. So the plaintiff, who is a public figure, must prove clear and convincing evidence of actual malice. Florida does have a differing retraction law. So under Florida statute 770.01, before suing a newspaper, radio station, or publisher, you must give them 5 days written notice requesting a retraction. Basically, they get a chance to retract the story and fix it before you sue them. Virginia does not have that rule. Again, another difference here is Florida has very strong anti-SLAPP statutes. So Florida's anti-SLAPP law allows defendants to get cases dismissed early if targeting speech on public issues. So I guess in the Virginia case, they did not have strong anti-SLAPP laws because they would have argued that the case should be dismissed because they were speaking about public issues like domestic abuse. And remember, this is all about an op-ed. from a discussing abuse and where she was saying things that were true, but obviously there was a heavy implication there that Johnny Depp was hitting her. The only other difference I felt was necessary to point out is punitive damages differences. So Florida requires clear and convincing evidence of intentional misconduct and has procedural hurdles, while Virginia caps punitive damages at $350,000. So Florida does not have a fixed numeric cap, but the strict proof requirements for punitive damages in a defamation case are different. So again, entertaining case. That's why we're bringing it up. That's why we're talking about it. Wanted to know the differences, but for the latest in case updates, legal tips, news, and politics, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and our other socials, and above all, subscribe on YouTube to get your dose of excellence on a daily basis.